Hello everyone, I'm Wave, and today I thought I would bring in the new year by doing kind of like a different style video in that I'll wanted to talk about maybe my New Year's resolutions for visual novels in particularly, being like what visual novels I hope to read throughout the course of 2025, and then also maybe where I would like to take the channel throughout the course of this coming year. So I think currently I am wanting to do another tier list video. I think I'm probably going to do another iteration of the route tier list first, because I've noticed I'm actually quite slow in reading visual novels compared to a lot of other visual novel YouTubers in the space. I think I only read somewhere between maybe 6 or 7 VNs over the course of 2024. Most of them do have reviews that I put up on the channel, which kind of didn't, I don't know, it's weird that it worked out that way, because I remember I was originally not going to do a review on Lamine, specifically because it was Japanese exclusive, but I did so, and I'm glad that the people that did watch it ended up enjoying it. But yeah, I think I do want to sit on a general game visual novel tier list version until I read at least a couple more games to be able to make it a sizable upgrade from the original. Talking about upgrades, I think I'm going to, at the request of a certain someone, make sure that the next time I do a tier list video, I'm gonna upgrade the general quality of it. So I have some plans for that. I'm gonna hopefully make some sort of template. I'll have music over it, and yeah, maybe I'll also have the little a notification on the side that shows what the name of the song that's currently playing is, just for people that are curious. Talking about games in general, I am currently reading yet another Japanese visual novel. It's Clear by Moonstone. I'm playing the PS2 version because there's an additional route that they added in that version. So reading it, it's pretty slow going. I'm probably about 10 hours deep. So that's the first game out of 2025 that I do want to finish. From there, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm thinking I either want to read Cafe Stella, which has been sitting on my Steam account for a good while now, or I might go ahead and bite the bullet. Currently, there is the winter sale for Steam, but then I know also Jast has a Steam sale, or Jast also has a winter sale. So I'm thinking I might go ahead and finally play Saya no Uta, since I know that's a pretty brief 6 to 8 hour visual novel that I could maybe burn through in a week. So I could do that. What else as far as reading for visual novels this year do I want to do? I think it's probably about time that I read more Muv-Luv. I've had Muv-Luv Total Eclipse Remastered sitting on my account for a while, so I might go ahead and read that this year. There's a new visual novel, or by new, I mean this is a super old visual novel that recently came to my attention. If you're wondering how in the hell I end up finding these obscure Japanese visual novels, I swear it'll literally be in the late hours of the night. YouTube will just randomly pop up in my feed just OPs for very niche Japanese visual novels. Every once in a while, maybe I'll click on it and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting enough. And then I'll go ahead and I will write it down. Well, I'll pull it up on VNDB to confirm what game it is, because a lot of the titles are, of course, in Japanese, and I'll leave a little note for myself of hey, maybe this is a visual novel that is worth checking out sometime in the future. That was what I did for Lamine for several years. I think I literally had it on a list that I had wrote to myself for probably at least maybe 2 years of oh, this is a visual novel that's kind of interesting. And speaking about Lamine, another visual novel that I do want to read that just recently came to my attention is, I could actually double check the name on it real quick. Okay, so the name on that visual novel is Mizuiro. It's very weird to pronounce. It's from the same developers as Lamine, so that is going to be probably my next big anticipated game. because it does look quite good. Obviously, I'm only going off of the OP. I could speak about that actually too, because in the first tier list video that I did, I had mentioned that I was reading Sakura no Uta. If you're wondering why there hasn't been a review on it or something, or why I haven't even talked about it, it's because I dropped Sakura no Uta. I'm not necessarily in a rush to finish it, so I don't think I'm probably going to get around to it in 2025. Maybe I will, but it just kind of depends. For those of you that are curious, because I know a lot of people in the space of like, okay, I only read the translated visual novels. I know like a little while back, I think there was like a poll that Manga Gamer does every year where they ask, okay, what do people want translated? And I think it was like number 2 on the rankings for Sakura no Uta. A lot of people in the visual novel space think of Sakura no Uta as like the final kamige, which is like the term used for people that's like, okay, godlike game for visual novels. It's the final visual novel that's untranslated, that's gonna be god tier. I'm here to tell you, at least personally, I think I read like 15 to 20 hours of Sakura no Uta, and it was not particularly great. Like, I don't know, I feel like Sakura no Uta was probably sitting at like maybe a 6 out of 10 for me. It feels very just like long-winded. Like, I'm fine with reading slow burn visual novels, but Sakura no Uta, if I had to describe it from what I had read, is that it feels kind of like if you have some sort of like essay assignment and it has to have like a certain word count. Sakura no Uta feels like they're putting in a bunch of filler words in order to meet that word count. So there's a whole lot of like runtime, but there's not a whole lot of substance. A lot of like the stuff that happens on screen isn't stuff that really like resonates or has like sat with me in my mind and made me like recount, oh yeah, I remember that scene. So Sakura no Uta felt very just like mundane to me, and I think it's not helped by the fact that it is a route lock game. I literally within like the start of the game, you'll see the first girl, like, well, the girl that you have to play the first route isn't even the first girl that shows up in the game, but it's just like, I remember immediately being like, oh, you know what, no, I'm gonna skip on doing her route, I'm gonna do some other character first. And no, you are forced into the one character's route. It's like Toratani, and it's not really great. So who would have thought, you know, route skip plus not really a whole lot happening throughout the route would really be a mundane experience. So yeah, Sakura no Uta is probably not on my like New Year's resolutions for VNs, at least currently. I could force myself to probably read through another 60 plus hours of it to hopefully maybe get it done and then make a review on it, but I've purposely not been trying to like read visual novels explicitly for the purpose of making a review on it for YouTube. I've been doing it for my own personal enjoyment. So Sakura no Uta is probably on the back burner for quite a while. What other like visual novel things am I looking forward to this year? I know, I want to say it's been like 2 years since Alcana Extra 2 came out, so I'm wondering when we might get Extra 3, which I know has already like been confirmed to be worked on. We haven't seen any trailers as far as I'm aware. I think there's like one trailer for it, but if I recall, Extra 2 came out in like April in Japan, and then it came out in the West like November or December later that same year. So if Alcana Extra 3 does end up dropping this year, I'm definitely ready to drop whatever I'm reading in order to read that. What other like localizations could we get? You know what? Let me go ahead and pull up the name on it. Okay, so I know recently Astral Air, which is a game by Favorite, so like the same people that did what is it? Hoshizora no Memoria, and then I think most recently Neko Nyan put out like localization for, I think it's called like Colorful World. I haven't read that yet. I definitely need to, but I had kind of had Astral Air on my list of games, of Japanese games that are worth getting into, and I think most recently there was a like updated HD version of it in the same vein as Hoshizora no Memoria, where it got like an HD update. So it's cope, but people are kind of wondering mayhaps we'll get a translation of Astral Air for in the West. Do I think it's gonna happen this year? Probably not. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of cope, but if that drops, that'll also be something that I would definitely be looking forward to reading. What else? I know I haven't even read White Album 1. It's been a game that's been sitting on my Steam library for a little while. It's been, I think, like 2 years since that dropped on Steam, so maybe finally people will get White Album 2 localized officially. Maybe, if not, maybe next year. In 2026, but yeah, I think that would definitely be a pretty big drop in the visual novel space if we get White Album 2, because that's also one of those like last visual novels that are genuinely like well received among people that have read it in Japanese, and it holds this sort of reputation as being like one of the pinnacles of visual novels, and people want translated. What other stuff for YouTubing side do I think I want to talk about? So I alluded to a certain video I'm talking about, or that I was going to make in the Air video, and that's probably a couple months out. I do have to do some research. It's going to be sort of a like analysis slash theory crafting style video, where I'm going to take Air, Canon, Angel Beats, and then Heaven Burns Red, and I'm gonna take those 4 games and combine the lore of it together to try to piece together this broader story that spans multiple titles from Key. So I definitely have been keeping that in the works, but I do have to do research. Obviously, Heaven Burns Red is a live service game, so it's a lot harder to kind of just be like, okay, well, I can't just play it and then get through all the story and then have all the knowledge. I could go ahead and cheat and go ahead and look at like YouTube videos of like fan translations of the Japanese version or something. I might do that because I don't know exactly when they're going to drop the Angel Beats collab in that game, but we'll see. So I think it's probably going to be like a time-gated kind of thing where I'm waiting to gather more resources and information before I go ahead and make that video, but I do think the points that I want to make in that video are going to be relatively huge. I might go ahead and finally start promoting my channel on like the visual novel Reddit, the visual novel like subreddit, at least with that video starting off, because I think that's like a big enough release of a video, at least in my mind. I think it's going to be a big enough video to where it should be able to garner kind of like more attention and finally start putting my channel up in the public and getting more like perception of it. So that's definitely one of the biggest projects I want to do with my YouTube channel this year. I guess we could also talk about maybe like potential collabs. I don't know. I've actually been offered to do a collab for a certain video, and I put it off. So I don't know exactly. Part of me doesn't really feel like I deserve doing any sort of that kind of thing yet. My channel is still growing. It's still very, very small as of current. And I actually genuinely appreciate the fact that it's like a pretty small channel. I like that being able to, when I see a comment, I'm able to just like look at it, respond to it, and not be super overwhelmed. I have to imagine, especially too, once you do get into a bigger channel space, especially if you start like trying to monetize off of the channel and get it to where you're trying to make a living off of YouTube content of your channel, kind of starts to dip. in that you are now chasing the algorithm more so than you're trying to chase just the fun aspect of it, right? So I don't know. I'm definitely open to doing some sort of like, what's it called, collabs with some other visual novel YouTubers. As for if I want it to be like in a podcasty kind of style, I'm not entirely sure. I almost feel like I'm pretty content in just doing like these pre-recorded, upload it to YouTube, relatively edited kind of style. It just kind of depends. That, and I don't have a whole lot of time to record sometimes, so it's kind of weird to try and line up my schedule with other people's schedules when it comes to recording. So yeah, I don't know. What other stuff do I look forward to doing on the channel? Let me know. I have kind of thought of another thing. I was thinking of maybe mentioning it when I did the tier, or like the route, when I did the route tier list. But I had another idea, which is probably, the purpose of it is maybe like already defeated because there's already like a better solution to it. But I was considering how, like, if you go online, let's say just to the Reddit, and you were to ask, oh, you know, I played this route and I want to find other games that kind of have this same style of like route, or like, you know, I played this game and I want to read another game that's kind of similar to it. I was considering of doing maybe where I'll highlight like 2 or 3 routes from various visual novels that maybe all share one certain theme around it. So like, oh, you know, this is like the tsundere route, and I highlight like 2 or 3 games that I think all have like probably like a really high-end, high-quality tsundere route that I have personally read. So while I haven't read like an insane amount of visual novels, that's my main thing of like, I'm not the encyclopedia of visual novels, but I thought, you know, that could be kind of like an interesting visual novel YouTube series to start, perhaps. What other things? I don't know. Just let me know if you guys prefer the reviews, if you prefer maybe more of the topic discussions, like what I did with the discussing the various depth of gameplay in visual novel video that I did a little while back. But yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to making more YouTube videos throughout 2025, as well as just obviously reading visual novels. It's been quite a fun hobby to get into, and while I do think I've maybe gotten a little too deep, considering that I'm reading Japanese exclusive PS2 visual novels through OCR visual novel reader or whatever. I'm definitely in too deep, but at the same time, it's been a fun ride. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying my channel throughout 2024, and I look forward to providing you guys with more content in 2025. I've been Wave. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.